Hi, this is Jacob Knowles from the Green Roundtable and Nexus here in Boston. You can find us at nexusboston.org. And this is a follow-on to our previous speed training for the recycled content materials credits for LEED projects. So in this case we're going to be looking at a little bit more specific, more complex material, concrete in this case. So typically from your supplier, the contractor might receive material credits documentation sheet indicating that for their product, say it's $100 worth of concrete for 1 yard, that they have the product or product component being other concrete materials and fly ash. Breaking out fly ash because that is the portion that has the recycled content. Here they may or may not list what's actually required by the specification, but since this is just a general description, we're going to skip that piece. Here you would have the post-consumer recycled content, and then here the pre-consumer recycled content. And they would list that the fly ash is 100% pre-consumer, but unfortunately it's only about 3% most likely, certainly in the 1 to 6% range for the weight of the total product. And the remainder would be all of the other concrete materials. Those numbers adding up to your full 100%. So if you were to put that as the contractor from your supplier, you take that information and put that into your material calculator, you're going to find that that $100 worth of concrete material with 3% of its weight being post-industrial recycled content, of course remember that's only half the value in the LEED rating system, as compared to post-consumer recycled content where you get full value. So essentially that 3% is only 1.5% times the $100 is $1.50 worth of recycled content value. Now, you're allowed to, and this gives you a little bit more credit, break out the supplementary cementitious materials, which is basically your Portland cement and your fly ash or potentially slag, and break that out separately from the remaining materials, aggregate, sand, water, and so forth. So the supplier would need to break out the $35, potentially, maybe $30 to $40 worth of the cementitious materials value from the remaining value of that $100 originally. What's great about that is that the supplementary cementitious materials, potentially 10, 20, 30, maybe even 40% of that is recycled content, fly ash or slag for example. And again, that's post-industrial, so you only get half value. So that would be 10% times the $35 gives you $3.50 worth of recycled content as compared to running it the other way where you only get $1.50. So for the suppliers, what they would do in filling out their material credits documentation sheet is provide one documentation sheet that describes the $35 worth of cementitious materials, Portland cement and fly ash for example. And here under pre-consumer you would get 100% for the fly ash times 20% of the weight, which may vary to some degree. The remaining weight of course being the Portland cement, these numbers adding up to 100%. So again, that's where this 20% of that $35 comes from. But don't forget, you still have to document the remaining value of materials. So for the non-cementitious materials, the remaining of that 100 would be $65. And here, of course, they wouldn't have any recycled content, but it's important for the contractor to have this information in documenting the total material value for their recycled content, because that goes into the denominator. Again, I'm Jacob Knowles from the Green Roundtable and Nexus. You can find us at nexusboston.org, and I hope this has been helpful. Thanks.